anything which is worth it, there is always a lot of competition for it. And the same applies to be true when it comes to women. And as a man, no doubt you know, there is a lot of competition for all the good women. And you need to figure out what is it you can do, which is why we're looking at dating advice, dating tips for men when it comes to women. One of the unwritten rules of online dating is there are some questions you don't get to ask. For example, you shouldn't be asking, where are you, what are you doing, what all did you do, did you go out, who all are you seeing, who do you spend time with, whom do you talk to, are you only talking to me, these kind of questions. Or questions like along the lines of when can we meet up, why don't we meet today, why can't we meet? And where again we come across as not only needy and clingy, but also we come across as very desperate. So it is important not to do that. A very simple solution is maybe you focus on interacting with, say, 5 to 7 women and space it out. So every woman you interact with maybe once in 2 days, rather than interacting 7 times a day with one woman. You interact with 7 women once in 2 days. Maybe that works for you. And that is another piece of dating advice for men, whether you're looking at online dating or face-to-face dating. Okay, another piece of advice for online dating or even face-to-face dating, and this has to be done carefully because you don't want to come off as creepy or as someone who's been stalking her. At the same time, you want to come across as someone who's attentive and who has been paying attention. So link back to your conversations, link back to your texts, link back to what she said, and ask her about things that she has already covered, because not only does that show that you're interested and you were actually listening, but more important, it takes the conversation forward and makes her feel that yes, you are genuinely interested in her life. Also, when you're meeting face to face, and this is important, do not be checking other women out. Focus on her. You're there on the date with her. You're not there to look at everybody else. For example, if a couple of days ago she has mentioned that her dog was not well, definitely ask how the dog is doing now and see if you can be of some help. Perhaps you can even recommend a vet or a good doctor to where you take your dog or your friend's dog has been. Another important piece of dating advice for men is that, and this is from studies which indicate that humor and making a woman laugh is much more in terms of effectiveness than merely being, for example, good looking. Another important piece of advice for men, and studies indicate, is that humor goes a long way in being effective with women. And in fact, humor is more important than being good looking. For example, if she sends you a picture where there's a picture of her and within that, in the background, there's a monkey, you can make a comment on that monkey and say, wow, what a good looking picture, and nice to see that you're also in it. A balance needs to be reached where you're being witty based on the flow of the conversation, but you're not being mean and you're not trying too hard. You're teasing her, but at the same time you know when to pull back and when to push forward. Another important point when it comes to dating for men is grooming. You need to put your best foot forward. You don't need to be wearing expensive clothes, but definitely you need to have showered, you need to have shaved, you need to look extremely presentable. Look like a gentleman, be polite and courteous. It goes a long way. The idea is not for you to be there and be aggressive, rather for you to be there and be strong. Some studies have suggested that some women are more attracted to men when they wear red as a color. So you need to look into that. Maybe it works for you. For example, if you show up on a date just wearing shorts, don't expect a second date, even if the shorts are red.